August 10th in 2020. This is the time and place for the City Commission of Huron. Can I have a roll call, please?
Smith.
Here.
Clute.
Here.
Bragg.
Here.
Robish.
Present.
Mayor Harrington.
Present. Join me with a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public forum tonight. Public forum comments will be sent through our live meeting broadcast to our city's YouTube channel. The link is listed on the city's website at www.husd.com/citygovernment. In order to use the YouTube channel chat feature, please create an account with your YouTube and Gmail or use your existing accounts. Please state your name and address for the record. And tonight we have Janet on the phone to answer any of your calls. She will answer them. She then will, I'll keep an eye on her. She'll give me a heads up if she's got something, and we'll stop where we're at, and we'll answer any question that we can through the phones. Until then, we'll proceed with our meeting tonight. Agenda approval is there anybody have any problems with our agenda, want to add or just take something off? And now's the time and place. If not, I would entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Move approval.
Commissioner Smith, move. Need a second? That's Clute.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith will second that. Glad to point that out. You hardly look alike.
It's all right. Well, it's the mask.
Roll call, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay. Consent agenda. Consent agenda matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time, without discussion, unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. Mr. Bragg, first motion, need a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Smith. Roll call, please.
You want to read the consent or?
You do consent agenda. We are out of whack tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, we're lopsided.
We'll vote on it afterwards.
Thank you. 4.1, minutes of August 3rd, 2020. 4.2, authorize the mayor to sign the release from Sedgwick Claims Management Services for reimbursement of repair costs for damage at Huron Regional Airport. 4.3, personnel items. Resignation of Matt Kotz, summer engineering intern. Number 2, regular status of Andrea Hofer for completion of probationary period. 4.4, payment of the bills. Now I have a vote. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Bid quotes. 5.1, consider construction change order final by TCL Oates and Construction LLC, bid number 2020-01, water main replacement for a net change of $68,446.73, and a payment request, which will be the final payment request, for $408,621, $408,621.08. Dennis, or Brad's here. Brett's here. Okay, Brett. Engineer, would you like to talk on this?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the final change order on this, so there's a bunch of quantity adjustments for quantities not used. That change order is a deduct amount of $68,446.73, so it's an actual deduct. The reason of the large deduct on this project was mostly concrete bid items that were saved. TLC Olson Construction did a great job, and actually they were able to save a lot of portions of concrete that in a wetter year of construction, maybe you wouldn't have been able to, but they were able to maneuver around some things and save a bunch of concrete, which saved the city a bunch of money in the end. So if you look through the list, it's mostly adds up as removals of concrete and replacement of the concrete, and that's the large deduct amount. So we recommend approval of that final change order and then the final pay request as a result of that.
Entertain a motion.
Move approval of the final payment.
Commissioner Klug, move approval, motion one. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robish. Discussion. No discussion, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Klug.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Rubbish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Item number 6, petitions and communications. We have a semi-annual update of the Huron Chamber and Visitors Bureau. I see Lori Sheldon's here. Lori, if you would, give us your report.
Can I take off my mask when I
Yes.
talk? Okay, thanks. Whether you could hear me or not, you might be able to. Probably wouldn't cut me off any because you know I'm always lengthy. So anyway.
We didn't say that.
I know you didn't. I say it every time I think I am. There's always a lot to cover. So anyway, I'm always pleased to be able to tell you what we have going on at the chamber. But one of the first things that I wanted to bring up was our world's largest pheasant. So thank you for partnering with us to make sure we have a city-owned space for the world's largest pheasant. At this time, what we're in the process of is finalizing the details and the cost estimates for the new pheasant. We did commission a new pheasant to be built, so the final things that need to come about are just the stand that it will sit on, the landscaping around there, and then there's the costs, like for the boring details and things like that that I've been working with the city engineers on. So we're excited for the new space today. The street department put up a 40-foot boom so we could look and see what that will look like in that new location on Memorial Ballpark, and I think it'll be great. It'll be very visible up there, so I think it will be really well seen over there, and it will be on city property, so we can continue to have it and not have to keep kicking the can on leases down the road every 20 years or however long that has gone on. So anyway, if you have any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer what I know at this time.
I have a question
Sure.
on Lori. What type of a base is that going to be on? Is it going to be like just on a pedestal with no platform, or, and then how tall will that base
So
be?
we're working on the height of it right now, but looking at 10 to 12 feet in the air. Working with Randy Hoshide to make sure that the footings are poured properly so it will withstand, 70 to 100 mile an hour winds, because we know, well, we just had 70 mile an hour winds. So really we're looking at about 100 mile an hour winds. What we're envisioning is a pedestal that it will be attached to that stands that 12 feet up in the air, and the bird will be larger than our existing pheasant. So we're estimating about 2 feet larger than the existing one is. Our vision for the outside, and it will come about based off of how Randy's diagram looks as far as how big that is to have it be a more natural setting for a pheasant habitat, basically there, and try and keep it very aesthetically pleasing, but not have it be overly highly maintenanced over there, but to just have it look like it would if in that pheasant habitat. So we're trying to work on some different ideas for that and cost, and then we'll begin our fundraising part of that. So thanks for the question. Anybody else?
Any other questions on that?
Okay, all right. So then when we get into this COVID pandemic, it has changed everybody's life over the last 12 years, or what it might seem like. Only kidding. It really seems like it's been a long time, because every time you turn around you have to change something. So I'm just being smart at that. But really through this time period, we've been trying to work with our business members and putting information out for them to help their businesses, supporting the shopping local. Right away, we started reaching out to our businesses to see how they thought this would affect them, and then we continue to reach out to them as we move forward through this. And we're going to be looking at a shop local campaign that's going to start much earlier than right before Christmas, so that hopefully we can detour a lot more of the online shopping. So we're coming up and just starting to meet on that as we go forward with that. We have been working with different entities trying to put out different tips and ideas for our small businesses, and some of them have done a great job. When I get into the statistics though, you'll see, and you may already go over those numbers, but the amount of decrease that we're seeing in the overall spending is pretty significant, it looks like. But we continue to monitor those things. We sit in on webinars with the U.S. Chamber, U.S. Tourism, South Dakota Tourism, the South Dakota Chamber, and then also South Dakota Retailers, and working with Greater Huron as we go forward to make sure that we can do our best for our business community, and any input that people have is appreciated. Ideas are always appreciated, but we do want to continue to work on that because we don't know when it's going away or how that is going away. So one of the things that hopefully will have helped our local economy is Red Power Roundup that is just finalizing today. And I know that there are mixed emotions when people come into a community from all over, but the one thing we know that it has done, it has put a spur in that spending that we may not be getting locally. So we had great comments from the people attending. They registered all of the tractors and exhibits as they came out there, and they had 22 states that had exhibits that were on the grounds. But we had a map where visitors were attending from, and I think we had all but about 10 states that had come into the community. We had a few from Florida, and I know that's a hot spot. These are rural people. They tell me that when they wanted to go look at where they wanted to eat, and it was meat and potatoes. But anyway, so Alaska, California, the tip of Texas to the tip of, the top of Idaho, North Carolina, and they were all so appreciative that they had something like this to look forward to, and they appreciated our state and our local community for allowing these type of things to happen. So we can just continue to hope that it doesn't spur about any outbreaks, because I know that is always a concern, but the impact that it will have on our community is huge because our hotels were full. The campground had quite a few campers in it, and they were going out to eat, and I don't know if you drove by any restaurants, happened to on Saturday night, a lot of them were full. So they were all, like I said, they thanked everybody over and over again for allowing that to happen for them. And it's something that they look forward to. Attendance numbers are still out there being looked at, probably would range from 10 to 11,000, maybe somewhere in there, maybe a little bit more. And that's like daily, combining all daily attendance. So of course some of them, are marked twice or so on there, depending on how often they came in. But a lot of people, when I visited Saturday and Sunday with people as they come in, there was a lot of people from within the state that were coming from all over the area just to attend it. So it was pretty impressive if you weren't out there. Again, I'm not a farm person, a tractor person of any means, but there was such history out there, and it was great to see, and I love to see that passion. And if we all had committees like the Chapter 21 committee put on events in our communities, we'd all be blessed forever, because they were the most passionate group of people, and all these international collectors are great. So it was very fun to have them in our community, and they were social distancing responsibly. People would come up and they'd stand a little ways to visit, but there was no large, really close gathering. So I hope that makes you feel better on that part, and we'll just see where that takes us, because then next we're moving into the fair, and again, that's another spurt to our economy, and our businesses really need it. When I looked at the sales tax, so I have a little bit of statistics. to talk about, and I know you get those numbers as well, but I put the third penny sales tax numbers down. Year to date or through July was 183,693. That's down 11% from 2019. So the triple B tax comes from, lodging, eating, and drinking. So I looked at those gross sales that they had through July, and our lodging was $1,071,249 as of the end of July. That was down 44% from the prior year. And, our hotels struggle as it is, and to have them down that 44% just is very sad. Our eating establishments, the gross revenues were $8,781,478. That was down 15% from 2019. 15% wasn't that great of a number, so I felt pretty good about that. So I think our Huron community is trying to do a very good job of continuing to support those businesses. And then it comes to our bars and the drinking establishments, that third one there, and it was $1,572,044, and that was down 37% from the previous year. And they are a group that's struggling, and I know that we continue to get them looking at where we're, selling our alcohol at, and where we're allowing licenses to be given. And when you look at this year, they're down at 37%. I don't think that that's going to change, probably, because they are really struggling again. First and second penny sales tax, was actually up 3.53% year over year from July of last year. So that number really I felt pretty good about as well when I looked at those numbers. But with those other businesses being down, we are a hard hit community, and we need to continue to work on ways to help our businesses. When I look at where our website stats are at, actually, year to date, for our Huron SD website, which encompasses city government, all of that, it looked like our page views were 217,835 year to date. For all of last year was 307,901. So people are using that, and I think a lot of it comes to our Zoom meetings and people watching, things online and paying attention to what's happening within the city government, because the top view pages were City of Huron, Huron Public Library, so I know she'll appreciate that, city government, the forms, the payment that comes into the city employment, city departments. COVID was the 9th one, and then the chamber was the 10th one that were listed for the top 10. I look at our Hunt Huron SD website as well, because we are continuing to promote hunting very strongly. This year we had a budget of $55,000 for that. The sessions decreased just minimally from about 3,600 year to date from 3,400 last year, which I didn't really think that was too bad. So, like I said, we're going to continue with that marketing. It's, hunting is an outdoor activity, so hopefully people will see that and continue to come into the community, because I think the bird count is going to be pretty good this year, hopefully. So that part will be good. I will throw in there, and I didn't have it in my report, but the South Dakota Tourism did not put out there what that bird count was. Game Fish and Parks didn't put that out this year. So we did take a little bit of heat from a couple people that they thought that we were just trying to lure in tourists that way. And we tried to explain that number isn't all that accurate anyway, and you look at what the overall bird count was that was harvested was more than what they had said there. But we did get a little bit of heat, and one from one of the people that we market with. So we may be changing part of that marketing plan because of that. Because he hit us hard in outdoor news, and it's like, hey, I don't know where your bread's buttered at, but we're part of it. So I'm thinking you should probably think before you start putting things, bashing South Dakota in there. But what it did do is it spurred on a conversation with South Dakota Tourism too. so that the two of them can maybe get together and do something else, or with their marketing firm as well that South Dakota Tourism uses. Anyway, it's kind of a side note there, but it was interesting when we read that, and it's like, well, crud, thinking I'm saving a little money on marketing next year, at least putting it someplace other than with that gentleman. So anyway, like I said, we are continuing to market that because we do hope we get those hunters in, and I think they can, you know, socially distance responsibly. They're outdoors. The lodges can take care of them as far as the sanitizing and that type of thing, and I think our hotels and restaurants can also do the same thing. So hopefully they will continue to come in and visiting with our lodges. They are not seeing a lot of cancellations right now. Any that they have are those people that are flying in so far, but there was only one or two of them that said they've had one, maybe two cancel for that, but they may have picked up others from people driving in. So hunting, hopefully we can still continue to bring visitors in. As far as our Ringneck Festival and Bird Dog Challenge, you know, we bring hunters in from sometimes up to 20 different states for that. We are continuing to look at hosting that. Our deadline for team registration is the end of this month. We have 4 teams right now. Everybody waits till the end, but we have 2 brand new teams coming in. So I really hate to cancel if I've done some marketing and they're coming in because of that. But we'll see. We're going to continue to monitor it and how we're going to host it. You know, we hold banquets 2 nights that fill the Crossroads Ballroom, or Event Center Ballroom. So we may have to look at how we can do that differently depending on the numbers that we get in there, but we want to continue with that. Splash Central Marketing is something that I usually report on because Splash Central did not open. We have a $25,000 budget that I have not requested any funds from. I have spent about $2,200 to market Splash Central in the places that, for instance, we have a subscription or a membership with Southeast South Dakota Tourism because it gets us in their tourism guide. With our South Dakota vacation guides, we put ads in there. So there is some monies that we will be spending for that, but not at the same level as we had been before. And what we'll probably do is start meeting earlier so that we can make a good plan for next year based off of what we hope that it will do. So, and the one part about that, if you remember, we put a wrap on a People's Transit bus, and that is doing great marketing for us at a minimal cost right now, and they have put on 54,376 miles as of the end of June on that bus, and that's in just, what have we had it, a year and a half maybe? So that's pretty good, and that's fairly cheap marketing. For the South Dakota State Fair, we are going to be running a bus again, but it's going to go like it did last year, directly from Gate 3 to the mall and back every half an hour. On that bus, they will be required to wear masks, and we will provide them. I have them all purchased, and hopefully I have enough in case people don't bring their own. And then the bus driver will clean the bus in between when people get on and off, so that it tries to keep people safe that way. But it'll again try and free up some of that parking, you know, that gets bogged down around the building. So we'll continue with that, and hopefully it goes well. We were looking at maybe 2 buses in the evenings, but without big concerts, then we think we'll be good with just that one. Because last year they were bogged down at the very end of the night and ran later than our 11 o'clock time frame. So usually report on how well South Dakota Barbecue Championship went, and we all know that was canceled, but we're going to start meeting on that just to make somewhat of a plan next year. Every time we turn around and you're going, oh, but that's canceled, and it's very sad, and it's like, okay, now what are we going to do? We are hosting our Chamber Golf Classic next weekend. We are keeping that as social distanced as people want. We will be setting up outside. We will be serving hors d'oeuvres that will be served so that there's not a sit-down meal, and they have tables and everything set up at Broadland Creek for that. We have tried to do everything so that pre-registration, one person just can come up, grab their stuff for their team, and be good to go there. So hate to cancel everything, and people are golfing, and we want them to golf. So we have serviced this year, have put together 1,610 visitor bags for events that were able to happen. We have sent out 55 visitor packets, 25 relocation packets, and 250 hunting packets, which is quite a bit, the hunting packets. Scott Linden has done a great job with his blog that he does, and he is promoting hunting for us very well through social media. And we've been getting quite a few hunting packet requests. So we have a plan to be following up with them again to see if they actually do come, but we've been hitting that pretty hard. Leadership Huron is coming up here. We are continuing to host that and look at how to do that responsibly. And, you know, we utilize the campus center for our meetings for a lot of them, and those rooms are big enough right now. We have 16, we got one new this afternoon, so we have 17 participants in that enrolled for this year, and then we'll work with our businesses to see how they want us to come into their business. Maybe if they don't want us to, we'll work on a video of their business so people can still get the feel of what those businesses are like, so they get to know our manufacturing businesses, our banking, and all of those things. So we're working this out a little bit differently for them this year. Our annual meeting, we are working with Greater Huron. It was supposed to be in April, or maybe it was March. I don't remember. Anyway, it was canceled. And so we're trying to determine if it's worthwhile to have it. We sent a survey out, and there was really mixed emotions on the survey. So we have a meeting set up tomorrow to talk about that a little bit more with Greater Huron. Can't think of anything else that I have, but if you have questions for me, I'm always willing to answer them.
Any questions for Lori?
Uh,
Yeah, Commissioner Smith.
On the bus issue for the fair, Lori, do you anticipate, because they modified the school buses to include plastic shielding and all that in between the seats. Do you anticipate that that's one of the buses that you'd be using for that?
Kathy did not tell me what bus it was gonna be, so I am not sure whether that's the one it is. She was kind of looking at, unless your family, there's one per seat sitting in the bus, but she didn't tell me, you know, how that bus was situated right now.
It'd be a nice bonus if it was.
It would be, it would be. You know, we talked about it, and I threw it out there, what can we do, you know, to make sure everybody's safe, but, you know, on a bus, if we limit it to every other seat, you're not really getting enough people on there, and last year, there were several times that bus was full and people had to wait. So, that's conversations that I probably will have with her over the next couple weeks, because it'll be here in 3 weeks.
And then Red Power, has there been talk of them returning? You know, the last time they were here, they were very amped up about coming back, which they did this year.
Yep. So they, of course, would like us to host it again over the next 3 years. Well, for sure, 21 and 22, they have set up. 23, somebody was just bidding on it, Grand Island, Nebraska, I believe they were bidding on it this weekend, and I don't know what they determined. I don't think there was anybody bidding against them, so they will probably get it. So in talking to Steve Massett, which I did just an hour ago or so, he indicated that they would like to rebid it. And his comments were, but I just need to make sure I can get along with whoever is at the state fair and whoever is at the chamber. So hopefully that was a good thing for him to say. Anyway, so yes, they would like to, he thinks he has one more Red Power in him. Now their chapter is on the elderly side for a lot of them, so that makes a difference, and those people put in hours and hours of work. A lot of them have been there since last Saturday, trying to get everything set up. So they do put a lot of work in it, and it's up to the whole chapter, but he thinks he can convince them that hopefully we can bring it. Then I was visiting with Grand Island, and they have a green reunion that they call it, and they have hosted that before, and they were moving that one around, so I thought, well, and we've kind of talked about it, and Steve Massett would help us with that too, because he knows how to run those things. So we're kind of looking at that as well, whether that's an opportunity to bring it back.
Good.
So, good question, thank you.
Yeah. Thank
All
you.
right, well, thank you very much for your support, and I appreciate any input that you have for us. Oh,
I
sorry.
got one thing I want to say. In your long
I'm always
report-
afraid of yours, Mark.
Yeah,
No.
everybody is. In your long report that you gave, going back to the numbers, those numbers are disheartening to say the least. But the one thing I would like to say is, the first year of the pandemic, now that we're in the 12th year, okay, the first year of the pandemic, the numbers were good, actually, which indicates if the people do stay here and shop here, it helps a lot. It doesn't help just us. It helps the hotels, it helps the eating,
Yes.
it helps the bars, it
Yes.
helps everybody. So
Yes, it
I
does.
understand these numbers are disheartening, and they certainly are, but it's it's an encouragement and it's a challenge to stay here and to do that local shopping. It can be found here. if you
It
look-
can.
If you look.
It can. We just have to make sure people know that. So
Right, right.
that's where we have some creative minds hopefully coming up with ways to get people to think that continually. And we
Right.
try and do that every year, but this year really, it'll make a huge difference. So we need to make sure that whatever we do, people really understand. the
And then I
reasons
just
why.
have one more question, that's maybe more for Mr. Runge. Are you green or red?
Green.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Hey, so maybe I can get him
Yeah,
on
there
that
you go.
committee if we decide
There
to
you
do
go.
that. I think he commented on that last week when he met about shunning the red or something.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Lori, appreciate it. Appreciate your report.
So we're John Deere. And to know somebody who did.
Now we're gonna move on. Janice, do we have anything? Okay. You're being hidden back there. I can't quite see you around you. This engineer guy who's hiding you. Thank you. Ordinance and resolutions, we have a public hearing to consider resolution number 2020-9, petitions to vacate 3 street rights of way as filed by Ole Rollemeister Jr. and Rollemeister Family Ltd. partnership with True North Steel, all doing business as True North Steel and Huron Veterinary Clinic. With this, I will call on Barry, who is on Zoom tonight, for kind of explain to us what we got going on here, Barry, if you would, please.
Yes, Mayor. As you can tell from the information in your packet, the areas to be vacated on the streets, there's a number of streets there, including all of the portion of, this is basically from Commercial Street going north to the northwest there along the railroad tracks, from Illinois west, and then vacating that portion of the land that is all of Nebraska out there, running through the slough area out there on the south side of Highway 14, and then part of Ohio as well. And so what you have in your packet is a resolution with all of those legal addresses. The Planning Commission did look at all of these things. One of the things that they felt was needed to be addressed was we had some opposition to the Illinois Avenue vacation, because that appears to be a busy street, and one of the owners really felt strongly over there, that one of the property owners, that would be a little too much to just vacate all of that. And so in talking with True North, they have decided that they would withdraw that part of the initial application. So now what you have is just the vacation of the Ohio and Nebraska areas that are marked on the map in your packet, along with that the east-west portion of Commercial Street. And the Planning Commission they had a couple of stipulations there in order to approve it. They felt they wanted us to verify all of the deeds and the legal addresses, which True North provided us the deeds of all of the private ownership that they use as their DBA, or what they call a doing business as entity. And so there are actually 3 different ownership entities, and that is why your resolution that's in your packet reads a little bit meticulously, I'll put it. Also, the planning committee required or recommended not to agree to, to allow the applicant to build over any of the existing utilities so that we can maintain, rights of ingress and egress and things like that as well. So those are the 3 things that are in your packet. And with that, we'd recommend approval of their application as modified by True North to only be commercial in those portions of Nebraska and Ohio Avenue.
Thank you, Barry. Would True Steel like to speak? Did anything change?
I guess I'm Dave Harrington from True North Steel, 224th Street. I'm just here if anybody has any questions. What kind of started the drive to do this was there's a lot of moving parts, forklifts, semis, trying to bring some safety in there. There's a lot of cars that drive those roads that they don't really take you anywhere. Since then, we're looking at maybe doing an addition that kind of will infringe on the Ohio right of way. So we're waiting on approval of this to see where that leads us to, but you guys have any questions for me? I mean,
Any questions for David? If not, thank you. Lori, do you have any?
Yes, I need some clarification.
Okay, come on up and give us your name and address, Lori, please.
Laura Eichstad, I have a resident at 259 Wisconsin Northwest on 2 lots, and I have 4 lots on the 200 block Illinois.
Okay.
I was against the Illinois closing at the planning meeting, and the planners did agree with me. I wasn't against True North having Nebraska, which originally is an through street anyways, and they've already pretty well claimed Ohio, and I wasn't against that, but when it came to Illinois, that's a vital side street. Farmers use it, leaving the vets. People use it hauling trees. It was great last year as a detour from Dakota when we had the construction going on there. Taxpayers have paid the pavement for a commercial road. We need to keep that open. It's a great detour road. You can avoid 2 blocks of traffic and an intersection stoplight on Highway 14. But what I need clarification of is, this was in July 28th's paper, was I knew they had requested, they had pulled the vacate on Illinois, but what I need clarification on is how it was rephased. It says street right-of-way running east to west, beginning at Nebraska Avenue Northwest to the east edge of Illinois. Okay, if they want to close Nebraska and Ohio off, going to Commercial Road, they want to close it all the way to the east edge of Illinois, then that would make Commercial Road a dead end and you can't get to Illinois.
No, that's not correct. It would go to
It
that
should be the west side.
roadway from Commercial Street to Illinois would remain open.
So you would still be able to come up Commercial and use Illinois.
Yes, yes.
Okay, because I felt maybe there was a mistake and it should have said the west edge of Illinois, where the railroad tracks are on the other side.
Right, and that is the intent. True North has offered to allow Illinois to continue to be used.
As long as there's access from Commercial all the way
Right.
down Illinois, because Illinois is also the only through street over the 4 lanes that's open to get to the north neighborhoods. It's a good shortcut.
That is
You might
correct.
know that, Mark.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I believe you're, I can see what you say, it should be the west side of the street instead of the east side, right?
Right.
yeah, I agree. It would be from the railroad tracks west is where we would be, so you would be able to use Illinois to get on.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I needed clarification on that.
No, it would be open.
I didn't want Commercial to end up a dead end.
I agree.
No,
And I did talk to the Huron vets July 31st, Friday, and they weren't petitioning to have Ohio and Nebraska closed. they gave their permission, but they themselves said, as we're watching the cattle trailers leave the vets out front, they themselves says, no, we didn't request Illinois closed, we need Illinois. So I'm glad you changed that.
Okay.
We would have really been butting heads a while.
We're actually looking at moving all our culverts so we don't load on the road anymore either, so we're trying to make it safe all the way around, so.
Great neighborhood.
Ain't it though?
Yeah.
When you're from the north side of the tracks, you never leave it. We're the poor people.
All right, with that, any more, Laura?
Pardon?
Are you done with
Yes,
this?
I am.
Okay, satisfied with David?
Yeah,
Any questions for the commission? Mike, Mark, do you have any?
No, it was it's good clarification.
Okay.
Well,
Barrett?
since she knows that you cut that off as a shortcut, I request the chief to post a patrol.
I knew you had to be probably the only commissioner up here that uses that area.
Barry, do you have any more for us? Barry?
I do not, no.
Okay. Okay, do a motion to approve?
Mayor, I'd move to approve the request for the petition as with the restrictions and recommendations from the planning committee.
Okay. Have a second?
Second.
Second, Mark Robish, Commissioner Robish, okay. Any further discussion?
So do we need to clarify that east versus west? Then is that, do we need to change that, Barry?
Yes. We'll revise that and get that typo cleaned up.
Great.
Any further questions from the commission? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Claude.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Thank you all. 7.2, first reading of ordinance number 2213-18-76, redevelopment neighborhoods, formula for assessing valuations, and set the second reading for August 17th. City Attorney Tucker Valesky, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this is to update the ordinance with regards to the discretionary tax formula as it relates to redevelopment neighborhoods. Just this past legislative session, the state legislature passed a new statutory scheme with regards to the discretionary tax formula. Therefore, some prior state laws were repealed pursuant to the new statutory scheme, and contained in the current ordinance is some references to some now repealed state laws, just one actually, and this just basically deletes the reference to the repealed state law and inserts the new state law which succeeded the prior state law.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve.
I'd move the change as recommended.
Commissioner Bragg, first motion. Need a second?
I would second it.
Commissioner Smith seconds that. Any further discussion, any questions from the commission?
If I may, Mayor.
Yes, Commissioner Smith.
Just a question then, Tucker. So basically what we're doing is we're acknowledging that change in the code, in the ordinance. Is that
Yes.
the basis of this ordinance change?
Yes. If you read the ordinance 10-6-55, that was repealed. So
Okay.
that's no longer a law, and it was replaced with 10-6-35-2 subsection 7. So that was the only change that needed to be updated.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Claude.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Our final item is department items. Consider request from the police department to apply for the South Dakota Drug Control Fund to get money towards replacing K-9 patrol vehicle and authorizing the police chief to sign all documents. I see we have our police chief coming to the podium now, and he's going to explain all of this to us.
Thank you, Mayor. This year I've budgeted for a new K-9 patrol car. During the process of the capital asset stuff, I realized that I can apply to the South Dakota Drug Control Fund. The Drug Control Fund is managed by the DCI for the state. What that is, they take vehicles and cash that are seized from drug dealers in the state. It's auctioned off, the money goes into a fund. Once it gets over a certain amount, they allow different departments to apply to get funding from that to support the drug endeavors in the state of South Dakota, such as our K-9 Polly. She was purchased 2 years ago with drug control funds, and I'm hoping that maybe we can get some money to replace the patrol vehicle that hauls Polly around. The current one is a 2013 Ford SUV. It's been in 2 crashes, been completely rebuilt one time. It's getting to the point that it needs to be replaced for not only the patrol vehicle, but also to transport Polly around. I'm just trying to help supplement the budget, I guess, by applying to this. I don't know if we'll get it or not, but I thought it'd be worth trying to apply for it.
Motion?
I would put that in the form of a motion.
That form of motion? First in the motion is Commissioner Robish, second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Smith. Any discussion?
Any indication on what kind of a dollar amount you might?
I'm gonna probably request $40,000 would be a guess. I budgeted or asked for $45,000 from the Capital Asset Committee, or just under, I think it was $43,500. So I'm gonna ask for $40,000, hoping to get that, and I would show them that we're serious about the program, willing to put some money into it, but just asking for assistance from the fund.
Thanks, Kevin.
Any other questions from the commission for Kevin? If not, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Clute.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Janet, do we have anything? Okay. With that, we'll now go into a work session to discuss budget 2021. So thank you for coming tonight. I'm sure you don't all want to stay